Curry is a perfect example of why it is so important to have a hoe phase. Go be a hoe.
Let me fix this real quick, y'all. Let me start it from the top. It's delayed on my end. Maybe it's not gonna be delayed when the final comes out. But let's play this clip. You know what time it is.
Ayesha Curry is a perfect example of why it is so important to have a hoe phase. Go be a hoe. Be a hoe. But be a safe hoe though. Like protect yourself and don't get pregnant. That's why she's sitting over there feeling trapped. Trapped with Steph Curry. Sometimes you gotta go through some stuff to really appreciate what you have. She probably ain't never been hoed. She probably ain't never been drugged through the mud by a dude. She probably never been. She probably never had a heartbroken time and time and time again. That's why she can't really appreciate what she has, because it's like, I need something edgy. I need something fun. Like this mom stuff. This being married to Steph Curry, this shit is boring. And now she's really rebelling. She want to be in the streets. She want to be desired by other men. She probably want to do something with another man because she probably never experienced that. Like, when did they get together? Like high school or something? That is not enough time to be out in the world.
So you guys got the gist of that, right? Well, I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and say that she's 100% wrong. Women, they have a tendency to go through certain phases. Okay. And yeah, it happens when they're young. You know, if you haven't experienced a whole lot out there, then yeah, that those things can happen to where you start feeling like you've missed out or you're missing out. I honestly think that what's going on with Ayesha Curry, or what's been going on with her over the years, is that she's just having normal conversations that a lot of women have or have had in the past. The difference is she's famous and her husband is extremely famous and their family is under a microscope. Now, do I agree with some of the takes that she's shared as a married woman? No, not so much of the takes, but just publicly saying these things, because it's real easy to embarrass your significant other when you're under the microscope and you're famous. Now, this whole notion that women need to have a quote unquote hoe phase, that's not really how the game works. If you apply that same logic to a whole bunch of other things, then the more subjects that you apply that logic to, the dumber it sounds. For example, if I say, nah, you got to go out there and you got to get arrested and you got to go through jail and you got to go through getting harassed by the police and getting beat up by the police to understand that crime is bad, people would say that that is stupid. You got to go eat a whole bunch of BS. You got to eat dirt. You got to eat rocks. You got to eat parasites and bugs. So then you can truly understand the flavors and the taste and ingredients of really good food. See, that sounds stupid, right? Well, this is another example. No, women do not need to go out and they need to be hoed or whatever the case is. And hopefully this woman doesn't have any daughters. But no, that's not the wave. I don't believe. Now, I do believe that there are women that have this energy and there are men that have this energy where they feel like they want to go explore and do things like that. And if that's what you need to do to get things out of your system, then I 100% agree with you. And I think more power to you, go do it. However, when you take that risk and you go out there and you have all the fun, you do all the dirt, you do all the crazy things and you get that stuff out of your system, I do think that you don't have a right to have a certain standard of person that is better than the person you're bringing to the table. For example, if you were the female that wanted to have fun before she settled down and you wanted to catch like 150 bodies, you don't have the right to say, well, I want a man that doesn't have any kids, or I don't want a man with baggage, or whatever the case. You don't get to choose. Okay. This ain't Chipotle. This ain't a buffet. It's not how it works. That's just my only opinion about it. But yeah, there are people that need to get that stuff out their system. Right now, this notion that that's what's going on with Ayesha Curry, we don't know her personality. We know what she's saying and we know how we feel about what she's saying. So to say that if she had to just went out there and just gave it up to God knows whoever and then came back to Steph Curry, she'd be a better person, that's not really that's not even That's not even a healthy thing to do. That's not healthy advice to give women. You got young women watching these type of videos. It's stupid. It's terrible advice. No, I don't think that's what Ayesha Curry needed to do. And to be honest, these are words. She could look back on these words and say, you know what, at the time of my life, I was on some medication. Or at this time of my life, we were bumping heads and I was being petty, but of course not. I would never need to do that. Women, don't listen to this BS. Young women, do not listen and think that you need to go out there and you need to experience bad to understand how good really is good. Because I guarantee you right now, you don't you go talk to very wealthy and rich people. Some of them do have humble beginnings, but the ones that don't, the silver spoon people that never experienced that stuff, I don't really think that they have this idea that they need to go out here and experience terrible things to understand how blessed they are and the resources that they have that the average person doesn't have. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jump into the second part of this video and see how she wraps up her point and her logic. So listen.
Girl, and do stuff and experience stuff. Like, you don't have to experience a whole lot. But I don't think she experienced anything at all. And now she's tied down, married with kids. You can't go do your thing right now unless you go do your thing and run the risk. Like, you ain't just no Lucinda from down the block. You're Ayesha Curry. If you gonna mess with anybody, trust me, we gonna know about it.
I mean, what she's saying is true, in that last part. But again, I don't think it's necessarily about, and it makes me wonder if this woman has kids or has raised kids. And the reason, and I'm gonna tell you why I say this, because the fact that she brought up being a mother, dealing with kids, being at the house, and all this other stuff. For starters, Ayesha Curry does have a couple businesses. She does have a restaurant out in the Bay Area. I think she has her own cookware and stuff like that. So it's not like she's just basket weaving all day and telling kids what to do and what not to do. But for the women that do have children, I do believe and I do understand, because I'm married myself. When women go through this part of their life where everything is dedicated to home, children, husband, whatever the case is, going to work, they miss out on that free time that they once had before they were tied down with kids. That's why people say have all your fun before you have kids and things of that nature. Not have all your fun, go be a hoe, go be a male hoe and all this other stuff, but simply enjoy yourself while you have the free time, because children take up your time. Okay. Children take up your time. You have to teach them everything, how to sit down, how to eat, how to talk, yes and no. And that's just the standard part. That's not even considering parents that deal with children that may have asthma, or they may be special needs and all of these different things, or they have things going on genetically that requires more attention, that takes even more free time away from the parent or parents. So to jump to conclusions and say that, oh, well, yeah, that's because you weren't ran through, that's why you're having a hard time with kids. Even women that are ran through and got to enjoy themselves that have kids will have the same complaint. So I think this is terrible advice. I wanted to call this out because this isn't healthy for the culture. This isn't healthy for women. This isn't healthy for young women, women that value yourselves. Listen to me clearly. You do not need to go get ran through a whole bunch of men and do all of this stuff to finally have some peace and say you want to settle down. Okay. You might run into that one guy that's amazing to you and he can do things with you and to you that 10 guys could never do. Talk to women that are happily married or in a happy relationship, and they will tell you a lot of these women wish they met their man sooner and they didn't experience all of these different things. So that's just my take. I think this is bad advice. Like I said, there are certain things with Ayesha Curry I was not really a fan of that she would say, but at the end of the day, I don't think she's a terrible wife. I don't think she's a terrible mother. I don't think that their relationship is going to end and everybody's going to be able to say, see, it's all that stuff she was doing in the media. No, I don't think that at all. I think that they probably have more of a healthier foundation in a relationship than a lot of people that are online talking about their relationship. That's just my opinion. But you guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You have been tuning into Thoughts of Dizzy on the Epic Lounge Network. And until next time, Peace.